Welcome, new Kerbonauts. With the influx of new players from the Artemis 2, I thought it would be best to make some tutorials. So here I am, it is I, Thunder, here to teach you all about orbiting basics. Now I'm sure you've seen flashy videos, cool mods, Matt Lown rescue missions, and epic animations, and you wanna go and explode your own rockets, but you're stuck on the ground. Well, the first thing you need to know is that there is no up or down in space. Space exists in 3 dimensions, X, Y, and Z, but we don't really need to get into that. Basically, just know that there's no left, right, up, or down. Now, when we orbit a celestial body, planet, or moon, it's a little something like walking around in a circle. The closer you are to the center, the slower you have to walk, and the further away from the center you are, the faster you have to walk to keep up. And we can translate this walking speed into power output of your rocket. So the closer you are to the body you're orbiting, you don't have to use as much power. But the further away you are, the more power you have to use. This can be translated into delta V in meters per second, which that's how much you have, and on the nav ball is how fast you're currently going. This is just basically how much power your rocket can output. So if you drop a ball straight down, it doesn't go side to side, but if you throw a ball, it goes in sort of an arc. Theoretically, if you throw that ball fast enough, it would never touch the ground. This is because your power and speed is more than the constant power of gravity. Gravity keeps pulling down, but you keep missing the ground because you're going faster than it's able to pull you at. So to make a good orbit, you must continually angle yourself in degrees. The higher you are, the more you need to tilt. This makes that sort of arc. This is the most efficient way to get into orbit. If you go straight up, I mean, you can go straight up and then go burn directly to the side, but that gives you less time to act and it uses way more fuel. So we're just going to stick to the traditional method. Now, probably another important thing is prograde and retrograde. There are a bunch of things on the nav ball, but this is probably the most important. So prograde is the flight trajectory, or in simpler terms, the way your spacecraft is going, as you can see. Retrograde is the exact opposite of where you're going, as you can see here. Essentially, prograde is forward, retrograde is backward. If anyone here is a space nerd, you know that in the Mercury Atlas program in the late 50s and early 60s, they used what they called a retroprac with retro boosters. This brought the Mercury capsule back down from orbit by firing them in the opposite way that the spacecraft trajectory was going. And if you don't want to be stuck up in space forever, you want to do that too. Now, if you do want to increase your orbit size or height, you want to burn prograde, as you can see here. This increases your speed, but it stretches your orbit. Once you get to a higher orbit, you can actually notice that you actually go slower. This is because it takes longer to go around the entirety of the planet than it does when you're closer. Even though we added more speed and power, that made it bigger, made a bigger disk, so it takes longer to go around. Now, if you only burn once, as you can see here, it just stretches out one side, and it makes an elliptical orbit. Once you go to the highest point of the orbit, called the apoapsis, you can then burn prograde again and stretch out on the other side to make it perfectly circle. Periapsis is the lowest point, by the way, and apoapsis is the highest. You can see here. There's a whole lot of math about semi-major axis and things like that, but I'm not going to get into that. Basically, if you stretch your orbit, it will stay that way unless you change it. Now, there's also normal and anti-normal. Now, if prograde and retrograde were x, then normal and anti-normal would be the z-axis. Okay, so if this was your orbit, then this would be normal, anti-normal. So anti would be over here, and this is just normal. And this would be prograde, and this would be retrograde. So if you burn normal on a, let's say, circularized orbit, you will then change your orbit to be inclined like this. And there's actually a degree here. So you can change it, let's say, to 25 degrees. And that is now your new orbit. Your new orbit is this little purple line. Now you can go all the way back, and you can burn anti-normal, which is literally just the exact opposite. Let's say this is your orbit, and this is prograde. Okay, so this is the direction you're going, and this is retrograde, the opposite way of where you're going. So if you increase your prograde, so if you burn prograde, you will then increase your orbit size on one side. Let's say you burned here. Now, if you burn again prograde, because remember, we're going this way. If you burn prograde again, this way, then you'll also increase it in this size, and you'll get a full perfect circle on this. All right, so now that you're successfully in orbit, you can go on to do bigger and greater things. I'll be publishing more lessons about how to get to space and all that stuff. Maneuver nodes, docking procedures, how to do transfer windows, all that stuff. If you want to get notified of the latest updates, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned if you want to. I will continue to make these Kerbonaut lessons for you all. So yeah, I will see you all in the next one.